Thank you very much. Be seated, everybody. Thank you for your warm welcome. It is so great to be here. Thank you very much. Band and Spirit Fingers, you can go as well. I'm going to be okay here. This is the closest thing that I'm ever going to do to giving birth, because right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch something that I've been working on for quite some time. It's the beginnings of my new book, and in actual fact, I'm not the author, I'm just the editor, but Joe Pringle could not be here tonight, and so I am pleased to launch the Diary of Joe Pringle tonight. I'm going to read you a few excerpts as well, and in case you didn't know, there haven't been too many good diaries of since Anne Frank, really, and even she didn't do a sequel, lazy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get into that market. So I want to read to you some excerpts from the Diary of Joe Pringle. Just by way of introduction, he's penned an introduction, and I'll read it to you verbatim. Introduction. My name is Joe Pringle. The following is an excerpt from my diary. There were entries before this excerpt, and there'll be entries after. I've always kept a diary, but it has previously been exclusively for my own benefit. I don't know what has prompted me to publish what is essentially documentation of my innermost thoughts and feelings. I guess I wanted to selflessly contribute something to the world in the same way that Anne Frank did. My diary mostly revolves around Noel. I guess you could say my life mostly revolves around Noel. Noel is my project. More than that, he has become my passion. Noel is the same age as me, but sadly that's where the similarities end. Noel is Asian. He desperately wants to be like me, a rock star. But his ethnicity lends itself more comfortably to karaoke. Not only is he Asian, but he's stubborn too. He quite often doesn't listen to my instruction. He can be his own worst enemy. People ask me all the time why I persist with helping him. Some people say that I'm Christ-like. I don't know about that, although I can see why they say it. But I don't help Noel for the accolades or for the recognition or for my reputation. I'm just trying to help a guy that needs help, and Noel needs a lot of help. This diary was originally intended to be a sort of historical record for me, but hopefully it'll provide some insight to you, the reader, into the highs and agonizing lows of my life with Noel. If it inspires you to live like me and help someone of race, whether that race is Asian or some other type, then bearing my soul was well worth it. Joe Pringle, 2008. All right, so I'll read a couple of entries. What I've done is, or what Joe's done, is we've got 2 weeks worth of entries. We're not going to get through many tonight, but I'll just read out some highlights. And it is a narrative, so some of it may seem a little bit out of place, but I'm going to kind of give you a bit of a highlight package. Tuesday, April the 1st, 2008. I woke up at midday today because I wanted to make the most of the day. That's what it takes to be a champion. Sadly, Noel doesn't share my drive or ambition. He was asleep in a pile of empty nutshells in my living room. Perhaps foolishly, I'd given him 2 big bags of assorted nuts the night before because he had told me a few days earlier that he had only had nuts once when a US soldier had given them to the village children in Cambodia. It's all true. I brought him walnuts, Brazil nuts, and pistachios, and his little face lit up with excitement when he saw them. He sat up until 2 a.m. watching TV and had eventually passed out. The TV was still on and pistachio shells had stuck to his face and over the rest of his body. It was quite a pitiful sight. This sight would have repulsed most people, but it just motivates me to help him more. So that's good. You guys are in this, so I'll read this one. Wednesday, April 2nd, 2008. I went down to change early tonight because Noel was playing in the band and I wanted to hear him practice. The band sounded great. Noel was pretty good too, the best I've ever heard him. After practice, everyone in the band was asking for my feedback and was listening, everyone except for Noel. When will he learn? I went into the green room and spoke to Josh and Georgie about having Noel play at Awakening next year. They were so nice, and I went pretty close to convincing them. As usual, though, Noel was his own worst enemy. Just as I was close to securing him a gig, he came and pressed his greasy nose against the green room window and left a smear. Josh laughed awkwardly, and the conversation moved away from Noel playing at Awakening and onto the foolish things that Noel does. It was a fun night, but I felt sad that the conversation will likely never return to Noel playing at Awakening next year. I've learnt that you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't get him a gig if he smears his nose against the window. It's pretty good. Joe's a good writer. I'll read one more. This is a deep one. This will show the depth of Joe Pringle. Saturday, April 5th, 2008. Went out to breakfast this morning with Noel and Elise. We do this every Saturday. We always go to places that Noel can afford. It's a step down for me, but that's cross-cultural missions for you. I guess I don't mind living simply so that others can simply live. Elise is Noel's girlfriend. People assume when they see them together that Noel must have a lot of money, but it's not true. When they find out that he doesn't, they always ask how Noel has managed to get a girl like Elise. I think he gets annoyed of people asking, but I think if they stopped asking, then the stones would cry out. Whenever people ask me what I think about Noel and how he got Elise, I tell them about my wonder list. It's a list of questions that I'm going to take with me to heaven to ask God. In the meantime, I've stopped thinking about them because I think that God knows what he's doing. There are some things that we as humans can't understand, but I think that a God small enough to fit comfortably inside of our minds is not a God big enough to meet our needs. In a way, the cosmic mystery of this mismatch has given me the opportunity to help and demonstrate to people how to deal with the mysteries of God. So every cloud, it's a good one, isn't it? All right, one more. Monday, April the 7th. Noel's parents are over from Nepal to visit. Noel doesn't hug his father. I asked him why, and he said they weren't a hugging family. I think there's more to it. I'm going to make it my mission to get Noel to hug his dad before they leave. Noel's father asked him how his music is going and how Sydney was going. He said, "Fine, Papa." He doesn't tell him about the sad and unlucky things that happened to him. I think he suspects something. Noel's mother knows some of them, but he doesn't tell his dad. And if you want to read more of the Joe Pringle Diary, you're going to have to buy it. Right after the service, we've got a product table just outside, and you can get a copy of that for yourself. Let's give a big hand for Joe Pringle. He's the one that deserves all the glory and all the praise tonight for that. Okay, well, it is great to be here in Change, and sincerely thank you so much, Josh and Georgie. I love Josh and Georgie. Who loves Josh and Georgie? Anybody here? These guys are great, and it's so great to be with you, and it's extremely humbling to be standing here in the footsteps of the heroes of my faith, Pastor Phil and Chris, and with my great friends Josh and George.